Joe Montana recently had a documentary where he was saying that the Niners should have stuck with him in 92, 93, 94. They would have won more Super Bowls. What do you think?
Steve Young's a friend of mine, but that aside, I think Joe's got a point. I think Joe, it was his job. And, I think that, I think the 49ers would have beaten the Cowboys in the 92 NFC Championship game with Joe Montana. And he was there on the sidelines, healthy and ready to play. And they didn't play him. I don't think they would have beaten the Cowboys in 93. They did beat the Cowboys in 94. I agree with Joe. I think he would have won that game as well. So I do agree with Joe. I think he would have won 2 in that window and Steve won 1. But that's just my opinion. And obviously they were both great. And I love Steve. Steve, if you're watching this, I love you, brother. I love you.
See, I was 3 or 4 years old back then. So you're telling me that in 92, there was a large contingent of Niner fans, media people that thought that even though Steve had just won the MVP and gone 14-2, that they should go back to Joe Montana in the playoff. That was a thing? That's crazy.
Joe Montana played the second half of the Lions game and had like multiple touchdown passes in that game. And people were like, hey, play Joe. Wow,
that's interesting.
So they traded him in 93 to the Kansas City. And then, Joe beat Steve in the 93 season in week 2 in Kansas City. And then Steve won the Super Bowl, took it to an incredible level. And Joe went on, played very well with Kansas City, almost got them over the top.
Well, real quick, again, I was really young, but I'm just looking back. In 93, this is when Joe could have returned and been a full-time starter for the 49ers. He was 37.
Right.
And he played 11 games that year.
Steve Young was 32, I think.
Yeah, he was breaking down. In 93, Steve Young finished second in the MVP voting. And then in 94, he was number 1. So it's hard to say the Niners made the wrong decision. Like, that was Steve's prime. 92 to 94, he was the best quarterback in the world in those 3 years. I don't know. I'm a Steve Young fan, though, too. He gave me his autograph when I was 7. That's it. Joe never gave me his autograph.
The one thing that's consistent with this is that both instances, then and now, the 49ers went with the quarterback with a greater future.
Yes.
They think, obviously Trey's got a greater future than Jimmy. Steve had a greater future than Joe at that time. They went with the greater future. But even George Seifert, when he was asked about it, he's like, well, did we make the right call? I don't know. Would we have won more? I don't know. So they just did what they thought they wanted to do. But I think Seifert was really, really looked bad in that documentary. I'm not saying Scottie Pippen bad, but he looked bad.
So Joe, that's Joe's documentary. So Joe's documentary. An axe to grind against George Seifert.
Absolutely.
Grow up, Joe. Everyone says he's the greatest quarterback of all time. What more do you want? You want to rewrite history from 30 years? That's petty. They made the right call. Deal with it, Joe.
Yeah.
We got to get the Steve Young documentary so we can hear how petty Joe Montana was when Steve was the back. I'd love it, although Steve won't go there, will he?
No, Steve's too classy, man. He's not going there. He's not going there.
Kumar says, imagine them being 2-4 next year with Trey, with Jimmy on the bench. And how is he going to be treated? Locker room will point to Jimmy. Not just the locker room, the media.
It's inviting the circus to town. Yes. Come on.
Lynch doesn't realize if he just cuts Jimmy, we can pick up people that were first rounders, and Lynch wants a first now in a second. We could have signed people that could get the job done already, have experience. Yeah, but he wants to win this. He wants to win this trade big time. It doesn't matter what they could get. It doesn't. When a third round comp pick is more important than $27 million in cap space, something is wrong. Something is wrong.
Well, the way they've budgeted, they feel like their cap space is spent on Debo and Bosa, and so they got their one free agent, and that's it. In their mind, even if Jimmy was traded, that money's earmarked for their own players, not new players. So all the talk about Stephon Gilmore or anybody else is just like, well, that's just talk because they don't, in their mind, they don't have a budget for that with or without Jimmy.
LA Faithful says, do you believe if Trey plays, can Brandon Ayuk become wide receiver 1? Both have been working with each other since Trey was drafted, and they look like they trust each other, especially in that Texans game.
I do believe that. I believe even though Debo had an incredible year, and right now people would say, oh, yeah, Debo's number 1. I think Ayuk's got the ability, and he's probably got a great little thing going with Trey, and I think Ayuk's going to really emerge.
I think one thing we're going to see with the way they use Trey Lance is a lot more throws to the sideline. The last 5 years with Jimmy, everything's been over the middle because that's what he does well. I mean, Lance misses high. And if you miss high over the middle, that's an interception to the safety. I think it's just going to be more. You're going to see Kyle switch his play calling. He's going to throw to Ayuk around the sideline a lot. So yeah, absolutely, it's going to be good for him. Thanks for coming. Thanks for becoming a member. Nick says Shanahan is Ben Stiller in The Heartbreak Kid. I've never seen that movie. Have you seen that movie?
Yes.
So
dude, you haven't seen Heartbreak Kid? Oh
No.
my God, man. You got to get that one, dude. You got to watch that. It'll make you laugh.
When did that come out?
I would say over a decade
2007.
ago.
Okay. All right. I'll check it out.
No, but it's funny. It's funny.
All right. This is back. I'm muted. Thank you. I'm an idiot. Are the Niners scared if they cut Jimmy, he goes to Seattle and wins? I just don't think Seattle wants him, man. I mean, they know Jimmy for what he is, although he's beaten him. I don't know.
Oh, I mean, who's going to be their other guy then? Who's their other guy? Who's there with Drew Lock?
I would think they would draft
Jacob Eason. That's it.
Malik. They're not going to get Malik Willis. It's a good question, right? I don't know.
You know, God. I mean, I was thinking maybe Mariota would go there, but Mariota didn't go there. He wound up.
I thought they were going to get Baker. Does Baker not want to go there?
You know what? To me, that's the interesting wrinkle in this whole Jimmy thing is how's the Baker situation going to play out? Because he seems adamant about not wanting to be in Cleveland, and they have to have an NFL quarterback because Watson's going to be suspended.
So that's why they're not trading Baker, because they actually need him.
They need Baker.
And they're like, you know what? Be a grown-up, Baker, and play football. You signed a contract. I like that.
They're going to force him to play the first 6 games and then bench him mid-season. Come on. That's why I was thinking Baker and Jimmy. Yes. Grant, because think about it. They flipped Baker for Jimmy. The Niners can treat Baker totally different than Jimmy because Baker there's no allegiance to Baker in that room. So they can do whatever they want.
But Baker
they get to hit restart, and the Browns get to hit restart as well in their locker room because you know that they're going to be benching Baker for Watson. What if Baker played killer football? What if he played great football?
Baker being a whiner on the bench because he can't play. You know, same thing. It's contract year. I'm better than Trey. Why can't I play? You want someone like Andy Dalton to back up, not Nate Sudfeld. Andy Dalton, someone who doesn't even aspire to start, or Colt McCoy, someone who knows his role. You know, I don't think Baker knows his role at this point. Neither does Jimmy.